Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm feeling like on cloud nine today. I'm so excited to share this episode with you. I am just inspired and lit up and feeling healthy and energized and just feeling like the best version of myself on all levels. So I think you're going to get a lot of value from this episode. I have some magical, inspiring stories and things that you can apply in your life right now that I think is going to really change your life. So huge thank you to all the listeners. Huge thank you to everyone that's been sharing this, screenshotting it, posting it on their IG stories, texting it out. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That means the world to me. I'm so glad I'm a podcaster now. Like, this is so dope. I thought about this for so long, and now I'm doing it, and it's succeeding way better than I could have ever imagined. Like, I checked the numbers last night, and I was like, what? Is this real? Like, are these numbers fake or something? Like, where's all these people coming from? This is crazy. So, like, huge thank you to everyone that's been tuning in. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a kindred spirit who's already just crushing it in life, and you're just hungry for the next best version of yourself. So I think that's the one thing that myself and all my listeners have in common, is that we are just deeply inspired to become the highest and best versions of ourselves. And you're obviously already crushing it. If you're on a wavelength that you're even clicking on this episode and listening to it, then that wouldn't have entered your energy field if you weren't on a certain frequency to begin with. So I honor and respect you for listening. I believe you're a kindred spirit on a similar wavelength, and I'm excited to continue along this journey with you and continue growing. So please keep spreading the word. Keep telling your friends. I'm not charging for this content. I don't have any sponsors right now or any ads that you guys have to hear. So only thing that I would really appreciate is if you just told at least one person, even if you just text them the link and said, hey, I think you really enjoy Burnell's podcast. It's really inspiring me or helping me become the best version of myself, or whatever you're getting from this. Let me know. Share it. Tag me. I'll share it on my social media too. That social proof will help our community and our tribe keep expanding so we can impact and uplift and empower more lives. And it just kind of gives me that confirmation and that affirmation that I'm on the right path, and like that my work is appreciated and it's helping people. So that means the world to me if you do that. But let's get into today's episode. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about this. Like, the universe is so magical. Holy shit, it's such a magical place, and anything is possible for all of us. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Feng Shui, quantum physics, law of attraction, magic notebooks, and so much more. So strap in. We're about to go deep, and by the end of this episode, you're going to be on a higher vibe, feeling inspired, feeling uplifted, and you're going to have some simple, easy to implement action steps that you can just throw in your life right now that are going to be easy for you to apply and are going to have profound changes on the quality of your life. We're all about taking steps towards a happier, more fulfilled, more abundant, more prosperous, more full lifestyle. So let's do the damn thing and jump right in. First thing I wanted to talk about was Feng Shui and like decluttering and just your environment. Like, your environment holds energy, it holds space, and your environment's actually a direct reflection of your inner environment. So the clothes you wear, the house you live in, the decorations on the wall, whether it's clean or messy or organized or cluttered, like, these are all indicators of our internal space and our subconscious space. So if you're like, people always talk about subconscious programming because 90% of our behavior is controlled by our subconscious mind. That's why I spend like 8 hours a day, sometimes more, reprogramming my subconscious. I finally started making that switch. Like, I only work on my business and my stuff like a few hours a day, because the rest of the time I'm working on my mindset, and a lot of that mindset stuff is more subconscious programming. So I'm always working on it in everything I do. But you know, if they say like it's 80% mindset and 20% mechanics, then like why are we spending 80% of our time working and only 20% of our time on our mindset? Like that's backwards. So I spent a lot of time listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, listening to affirmations, doing incantations, journaling, scripting, listening to hypnosis while I sleep or while I lay out in the sun. And I actually just barely got done doing that. That's part of the reason I'm feeling so good, because I just finally got some vitamin D. Hasn't been sunny here for a while, and the sun came out after the storms, and it feels so good. I feel like spring is here, and man, life is starting to be beautiful again. I mean, it's always beautiful, but it's like starting to be extra beautiful again, and nothing better than springtime here in the Rocky Mountains. So it's my happy time of year. I'm feeling really good, but the biggest reason I'm on a high frequency right now is because yesterday I had an epic spring cleaning session. I spent probably like 5 or 6 hours decluttering, organizing, cleaning, and fixing things that were just, and like getting rid of stuff that was no longer resonating with my frequency. And the first step in like creating the life that we want is to first become aware of what we don't want. We first have to experience the contrast, the hardships. That's why if you listen to last week's episode, I was talking about how I kind of went through like a few days that were off, like a funk a little bit. My frequency kind of fell off for a second, but we're back. I needed that. I'm so grateful for that, because that's such an important part of our growth. And it's a valuable part of the manifestation process that not a lot of people talk about. I feel like almost all my biggest manifestations and dreams that have come true have first started from like having total breakdowns, failures, hardships, struggles, and contrast and duality and things that give me more clarity on what I do want to attract in my life and what I do want to bring in. So grateful for that. And I became so much more clear on who I do want to become and what resonates with that version of myself. So I think like Feng Shui and quantum physics and law of attraction and even a lot of just the typical success habits that you hear about, they're all really talking about the same thing. They're talking about embodying the version of yourself that you want to be right now. Being the change that you wish to see, and not waiting for external circumstances to shift so you can feel a certain way, but instead feeling a certain way, and then the circumstances around you happen to shift, because like I've always said, we don't get what we want in life, we get what we are. Life will give us whatever we are a vibrational match for, so the real work is getting ourselves onto the right frequency. And man, like sometimes when my frequency slips off, it's like the best thing that could ever happen to me, because then I bounce back like way more powerfully than I ever was before. But anyway, yesterday I woke up and like I just decided it was time to no longer accept anything that was lower vibration, that wasn't fully embodying the ideal version of myself that my higher self no longer identified with, including furniture, clothes, broken things. And I used my intuition the night before to choose a podcast to listen to. One of my favorite podcasts is the James Wedmore Show. He's just a super badass dude, and he has hundreds of episodes, so I closed my eyes and I scrolled with my thumb through all his episodes and just clicked on a random one with my eyes closed, thinking, my intuition or the universe will guide me on what episode I need to hear. Because if my ego chooses, I'll just choose what I think I need to learn rather than what I really need to learn. So I kind of do that with YouTube and podcasts a lot. And I end up listening to an episode about Feng Shui. And I've kind of been studying Feng Shui off and on for close to a year, and I notice every time I apply different Feng Shui principles, my life just gets way better, and I'm like, holy shit, this is so real. And I intuitively knew this as a kid. I knew like whenever I would clean my room and organize my closet and clean out my binder in school and like organize all the files and like all the assignments, like back when we didn't use computers as much and we had physical pieces of paper for everything in school. Like, I had assignments and old things from 3 months ago and clutter and all this stuff in my binder, and then I would clean it out and reorganize it and get like some new pens and some new page protectors and shit like that, and then all of a sudden I'd start getting better grades and my teachers would start liking me better and my parents would be happier with me and shit like that. So I didn't know I was like applying Feng Shui. I was just intuitively kind of like made sense to me, like, oh, you get rid of the clutter in your space and you get rid of the clutter in your mind. That just kind of makes sense. So finally, like I did this like last week where I kind of like rearranged some stuff and something still didn't feel right because I was still tolerating a few things. I cleaned out the easy things instead of the hard things, and I was tolerating some lower vibe things. Like, the craziest part was my front door was broken. And in Feng Shui, like, your front door is like so key. You need to have a nice welcome mat. You need to have an inviting, pleasing front door that just attracts positive energy and feels welcoming and inviting towards the energy that you want to bring in. So my front door was gross and dirty. There was cobwebs and dead bugs and all this shit all around the corners and crevices. And I had two doors. I had like a main door and then like this kind of outer glass door with a screen on it. And the outer glass door was broken so it wouldn't even shut all the way. So every time I came to my house, every time I left my house, anytime I went in or out, I was subconsciously thinking, I'm broken, or I don't deserve to be fixed because I've got this broken door and I'm not doing anything about it. And it's not like I was consciously thinking, I'm broken every time. Like, I was consciously saying, I love my life, I love my house, I'm abundant, like saying that consciously, but emotionally, subconsciously, deep down, I'm feeling broken. I'm feeling like I don't have my shit together. I'm feeling worried because I know my landlord is super protective about her shit, and as soon as she sees this door, she's gonna basically have a fit and tell me I owe her like $1,200 for this door because she's like really adamant about this door ever since I moved in. And so I was having this fear vibration operating on this frequency of worry, of lack, of scarcity, of feeling like I am really laziness. Like, I was too lazy to fix this door. It felt like a lot of work for me, and I didn't really know if I had the right tools or skills to fix it. But I finally just got fed up, and I feel like getting fed up is the best thing you can ever do for yourself sometimes. Like, when you get sick and tired of something in your life, that's when you make a fucking change. So sometimes you just need to get sick and tired of something before you actually do something about it. Finally woke up. I wasn't planning on doing any of this yesterday. I had all these other intentions, but then I woke up and I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of looking at this ripped up futon that I don't like. It's uncomfortable. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like sitting on it. I don't like laying on it. It doesn't embody the version of myself that I want to be. So fuck this. This futon's going out in the street right now. And it's not like I'm ungrateful for it. Like, I'm super grateful. I'm so blessed. I write down pages of gratitude journal every day. And I include my futon in that gratitude journal. But if I'm being real with myself, I haven't liked that futon really since I got it. And especially since it ripped up and just didn't look good. And it's kind of like when my guests come over, I feel like they're perceiving me as like a more, I don't know, like scarce version of myself and a less abundant, less successful version of Burnell. And I'm subconsciously feeling like I'm less successful and less deserving and less worthy because every time I go to sit down and watch a movie, I'm sitting on this old, ripped up, uncomfortable futon. So I dragged that out to the street and put a free sign on it. Then I looked at my desk, at this old desk. I don't like this desk. It's all beat up and I never really feel good and I never want to use this desk and it's kind of just taking up space. So I brought that out to the street and put a free sign on it. And then I just started going to town. Clothes, old towels, old anything that just didn't embody the best, highest version and the most successful superstar version of Burnell, it's out of here. And I know I talked about this on a previous episode, but I did it on like an even higher level yesterday. And the craziest thing is that my computer was completely broken. And as soon as I got done cleaning my house, decluttering it, I took the doorway off, fixed the doorway, made the front door inviting, cleaned out all the little corners and cobwebs and dead bugs and grossness. And mind you, I keep my house really clean, so there's just little corners and crevices that were like hard to reach that I had been lazy about cleaning that like were gonna require some extra work, like under the stove and random shit like that you put off it, that you kind of do more deep cleaning every once in a while. I was like, all right, it's springtime, time for some real deep spring cleaning. And as soon as I got rid of all this stuff and did this cleaning, and I also played some like isochronic tones and some sound bath healing of like Feng Shui music and energy clearing music to clear out the old negative energy. And as soon as I did that, I started feeling so good. Like I couldn't even describe how good I feel. I was just like, holy shit, all this weight is off my shoulder. I feel so good now. I have so much more open space without this futon and this desk, and now I have like the space to attract and welcome in like new, nicer furniture that does feel good. And as soon as I like come back and check my phone, there's a freaking text message from someone saying, "Hey, I'm moving. Do you want this nice futon?" And I was like, holy shit, like they offered me a free futon that's way nicer than the one I just got rid of. As soon as I cleared it out and made space. And then out of nowhere, I'm just feeling so good. I go to open up my computer and I know it's broken. I'm not worried about it and it's whatever. Out of nowhere, it's just fixed. Like it just works perfectly. Like it's never been broken. There's no lines and glitches in my screen. It's not freezing. And I'm just like, what? And when I took it to the Apple store, they said it was going to be $800 to fix. But I just kind of had this feeling that it would work itself out, or I would like manifest a bunch of extra money, or something would happen to where I could like get this fixed. And in the meantime, I was like borrowing a screen from someone, was able to like sort of use it, and I just kind of let go of worrying about it. And then as soon as I do all this house cleaning and feng shui and letting go, like boom, it just starts working like pure magic. I can't describe it. I have no science or evidence based on why it works now, but it just does. And I'm not questioning it. I'm just grateful for it. And I know deep in my heart that it's because I up-leveled my frequency. And everything is just energy. Like we think, a laptop is a laptop and it's this physical thing, but then like a thought is energy, and the emotion of love, that's energy, but it's different than a laptop. Like no, like it's all energy, everything. Like this, if I put a microscope up to this laptop, it's just vibrating energy waves. And it's only like in a solid state because I perceive it that way. Like perception is reality, and we're getting a little deep into quantum physics here, but I know time and time again when I switch my frequency and I go and I take action on what I can take action on, then the universe just, like I said, the universe meets me halfway and magic just unfolds and sorts out. So that was the first thing I wanted to really recap and talk about, is just like seriously go declutter your house, donate old clothes that don't feel like the superstar version of you, clean up the little cobwebs in the corners and the hard to reach places in your house that you've been procrastinating on. And don't be afraid to just let go of stuff. Even if it's nice stuff, other people will appreciate it. If you're no longer appreciating it, it's probably better that you get rid of it. And I saw people driving by and picking up my shit off the side of the road, and they were probably stoked. Like, that was something they were trying to attract and manifest in their life, and they just got it for free on the side of the road, and they're probably on a cloud nine. So, like, I'm spreading good vibes, too, on that level. And like, one man's trash is another man's treasure, so it's just beautiful and profound. And it kind of brings me to my next point, my next topic, which is having a magic journal. So here's the first simple action step. Go buy yourself a nice journal that you really enjoy. Something that just screams prosperity and success and magic to you. Something that just feels divine, like a legendary journal. And I'm not saying you have to spend hella money. You could get a regular journal and decorate it with some glitter and some pictures and whatever the fuck you want to do. The point is, you want to have a journal that you feel so good to write in, that you're excited to pick up every morning and write in. And then what you're going to do is you can call it, like one of the dudes I've been listening to and looking up to a lot, named CEO Charlie or Charlie Rocket. He calls it the Quantum Possibilities Journal, or the Quantum Possibilities Notebook. And everything he writes in this magical notebook comes true. And everything I write in my magical notebook comes true too. So I'll tell you a couple stories just to give you some examples of, like, you want to write down things that you'd like to experience, things that you'd like to be, things that you'd like to do, things that you'd like to have, as if they are already done. In Law of Attraction, they call it scripting, where you kind of write out a script of, like, putting yourself in future tense as if your vision was already manifested, and you say, like, for example, if you're trying to attract a new house, you write, I am so happy, today's the first day waking up in my new house. I walked into the kitchen and I was just blown away at how amazing it felt in my kitchen, and the light was coming through just so divinely, and there was birds chirping outside, and then I went and got in my jetted bathtub and, like, go into detail. But mostly what you're doing is you're connecting to the frequency. You're experiencing the emotions as if you already have it. You're saying it's a done deal. You're expressing gratitude and appreciation for it as if it's just already done, and you're just thanking the universe for something that already happened to you. And what happens is your subconscious starts to go to work, your frequency starts to raise, and you magically manifest all this stuff beyond your wildest dreams, like in just ways that you can't even explain sometimes. So one example, like when I first moved into this spot that I'm living at now, I got this really dope journal. I bought it off Amazon for like $9. And I just wrote down things I'd like to manifest. And I just wrote down like a page, which was just a list full of stuff. Some of it was experiences, some of it was like ways of being, and some of it was material items. And I shit you not, every single thing on that list has come true. Some things I even forgot I wrote down. A lot of things I didn't even know how I would get them or when I'd get them, but I didn't worry about it. And the key with this is you don't want to be overthinking it. You don't want to be attached to it. You don't want to be worried about when it's going to come or how it's going to come or how you're going to make this happen. Like, you're just saying, hey, this is cool stuff that I'd enjoy. I'd be stoked on if this happened. I'm not really too worried about it either way. But this would be a pleasant part of my experience since I'm living in a quantum infinite universe where I can literally be, do, and have anything I desire. And manifesting $1 billion is just as easy as manifesting a cup of coffee to the universe. If we're only like our human egos, and the mind is what makes it seem more difficult. But I figured, okay, if I can just have whatever I want then might as well. I'd like this, I'd like that, I'd like this. Okay, so I wrote down like some examples of, I'd like a kettlebell for working out. I'd like a jump rope. I'd like some more houseplants. I'd like a dope new tapestry. I'd like some bigger crystals. I'd like some high vibrational books, like that are on topics that I'm interested in, and just like to have the energy of the books in my bookshelf. And I'd like some colorful artwork in here, because especially when I was just moving into a new place, I was kind of thinking, what do I want to add to this place to make it home, make it dope? Wrote down all this stuff, didn't really think about it, and over the course of the next few weeks, I got everything. including vacations, including, this is how I manifested recent, performance in New York and a trip to Hawaii and swimming with dolphins, like so many crazy things on the experience level. And I've been doing this for years and it's always worked. And I don't know why I ever forget about this, but the key is to kind of be on a high frequency when you're doing it and feeling the emotions as if it's a done deal, and you're saying it's a done deal, you're claiming it to the universe. This is done. And thank you for it, and I'm stoked, and this is how I feel now that I already have this. And then you just let go and you detach and you just go do whatever feels like fun to you. Every day, just literally, your number one priority should be whatever makes you feel good. Because if you're feeling good, all those things will come to you so easily. Everything that you're worried about will work itself out, and everything that you desire will come in easier than you could have ever imagined. When you're feeling good and you're on a high state, following your bliss, doing what you love. So, write down these lists, write down your scripts and your journals, and then just let go. Kind of forget about it and go live your life. If you feel like going camping, go camping. If you feel like going skateboarding, go skateboarding. If you feel like having a dance party, have a dance party. If you get randomly inspired to go on a walk, then go on that walk. And just keep following your joy, following your intuition, and watch the magic unfold. It is so cool. So, like one example of this is I was in a high vibe, got done journaling, and then out of nowhere, I felt like I was in the mood to go on a bike ride. And I'm like, I'm going on a bike ride, okay. And I think I even had the mood, I was in the mood to like go to a store that I don't normally go to. So I was like, okay, I'll ride my bike through this neighborhood that I'd never really ridden through. And while I was on this bike ride, I was admiring how beautiful everything was. Man, the sky's beautiful. Look at these trees. These trees are fucking gorgeous. I love these trees. Look how awesome these houses are. I'd love a house like that someday. I'd like a house like that someday. Oh, that's a nice car. I'd like a car like that. I'm stoked for all these people living these awesome lifestyles and having these nice houses and expressing their personalities through the way they like take care of their yard and whatever. I'm just appreciating the neighborhood. And then out of nowhere, I see this elderly woman struggling to put a bicycle into the back of her car, into her trunk. So I pull over on my bike and I was like, hey, you need some help with that? And she's like, oh, yes, that would be great. Thank you so much. And I'm trying to get the bike into her trunk and I have to move some things around and take the tire off. And I get the bike into her car and she's like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, I just put this out into the universe that I wanted to gift my grandson a new bike. And then here I am driving through this neighborhood on my little Sunday cruise, and I see this free bike, and it's perfect for him. So I'm so happy and grateful, and thanks for helping me put it in. I'm like, oh, of course, no problem. And then I notice behind her there's a driveway full of stuff, and there's a big sign that just says free stuff. And I was like, my kind of busy mind and ego or whatever wanted to just keep pedaling, keep pushing on. But out of nowhere, this random spurt of inspiration struck me. And I decided to take a quick gander at the stuff. Decided to take a look around and just take a glance. It looked like everything was already well picked over and that there was going to be nothing really valuable left there. But I saw, oh, there's some books there. Maybe there's some cool books. I go and I start looking at these books, and sure enough, there's one on cooking with herbs. There's one on Feng Shui. There's one on clean eating. There's one on the brain. There's one on anti-aging. There's one on Zion National Park. And I had just written down that I wanted to manifest a trip to Zion National Park. Because I was like looking at my pictures on Pinterest where I often do visualization. Oh, nice. It's probably 222. Yep, 222. What's one big thing you're doing today to move forward? I'm recording a podcast, son. I like my little prompts. You've probably heard them several times if you've been listening to the pod for a minute. But anyway, I see the Zion book. I get stoked. I was like, ooh, I'm on the right frequency, because I was looking at Pinterest the other day and finally decided that I wanted to go to Zion. I was like, it's ridiculous. I've never been there. It looks gorgeous. It's not that far from me. I need to go. Wrote that down on my magic journal. And then I see a book of it, and I'm like, oh, I also wrote down books. There's 2 things right there, and I'm kind of on the frequency of going to Zion now. And then I notice, oh, there's some paintings. I wanted some paintings. I wrote that down. There's another thing manifested. And then I look over, and there's some weights and a kettlebell, and I'm like, holy shit, I wanted weights and kettlebell. Like, wow, okay. Swoop. And then, like, I can't fit it all on my bike at once, so I, like, ride a bunch of the stuff back home, and then I come back there later, and there's more stuff that he put out, and there's a flat screen TV, and there's a jump rope, and there's some clothes for my daughter that were super fresh that she still rocks, and, like, there's a few other things. I can't even remember all the things there was. And there was a cooler bag, which was a super random thing I put on my list that I wanted to manifest, because I was like, it'd be nice to have one of those bags that's actually a cooler that you can put ice in, because sometimes I like to take some beers or some kombucha or some drinks up to the mountains and go camping or hammocking or to the beach or whatever. It'd be nice to have a cooler bag. And then there's randomly a cooler bag. So, long story short, I get like 11 things from my list, all for free, in this driveway, because I followed my intuition, and because I stopped to do an act of kindness and service. And at this point in my life, I was heavily focused on how I could serve the world. So my reticular activating system was scanning the environment for any way I could be of service to anyone, anything I could do to help the world. And I was also taking a lot of pride in my new neighborhood that I moved to, because I moved to like one of the most affluent, rich neighborhoods in Salt Lake City, which, like, I'm living in someone's basically like old garage that's converted into an apartment, but like I'm living right next to $1 million houses and shit. So I wanted to be around the frequency of wealth and abundance and prosperity, and I was taking pride in my neighborhood and trying to be of service to my community, and I'm just appreciating where I'm living, trying to be of service, following my intuition. I don't know why I want to go to this store instead of this other store. I don't know why I feel randomly inspired to go on a bike ride, but I don't question that shit. I just know intuition is leading me where I need to go. And I follow that intuition, and boom, I just get all these things on my list. So I come home in a cloud 9, feeling like a master manifester, magician that can just be, do, and have anything. And it's a confirmation of a belief system that I had instilled. It's confirmation I'm on the right path, and it's a confirmation that all my spiritual mentors and success coaches are leading me in the right direction, because a lot of them are telling me to keep these journals and do this scripting, and that I can have anything, and that I can manifest whatever, and if I follow my intuition, it'll lead me. So, like, it's a confirmation that all these people are right. And I'm just riding this wave for like a few months, where basically anything and everything I could ever want just keeps coming. It was probably like 4 or 5 months before I slipped off that frequency at all. Like, I write down anything and it would just come like that. Like, I want to go to New York City. Boom, I get a fucking free flight out there to go perform in Brooklyn. And like, I love to go to California now. Boom, my homie randomly hits me up and, hey, I'm driving through from Colorado, gonna be stopping in Salt Lake tomorrow on my way to Cali. I'm like, shit, I'll randomly hop in with you. And then on that trip, I just like there was like 11 or 12 fucking amazing things that I had scripted about, like such as like going in a sensory deprivation tank, like a float tank, and stuff like that, and saw dolphins on that trip too. And it was just, yeah, mind-blowing. And then, like, frequency kind of went up and down for a little bit. Winter came, didn't get the vitamin D, started feeling a little stressed, a little off, and was still manifesting some things, because I go back and forth between being on a high vibe and then slipping off it. And manifested a trip to Hawaii that was just like out of nowhere, which I'd been writing about and scripting about, which it seemed outlandish and crazy. Like, how the fuck is someone with like never been to Hawaii and doesn't have the money and like I thought it was way more expensive than it was, and like it seemed way out of reach. Like I might as well have been asking the universe to give me a free Lamborghini or something, and then boom, that manifests, and that kind of reminds me of how powerful my frequency is. And I get back from that trip, and some things kind of slip off again, and then boom, I have this massive kind of breakdown kind of thing where I just feel all sad and depressed again for a few days and down, like I was talking about. And then that contrast again caused me to make a bunch of shifts and be like, cool, I've let some certain things kind of fall by the wayside or procrastinated on a few things, and fuck this, I'm taking action on it now. I'm no longer tolerating that. Like the highest version of Burnell doesn't look at this broken door for another day. I don't walk through this door a single time where it's broken again. I don't operate on that level anymore. The best version of Burnell doesn't ever sit on this futon again. And it's not like I'm being bougie or ingrateful or whatever, because like I know how blessed I am. I know the majority of the world lives on like $1 a day, and like all I want to do is help and give and serve and shit like that. So I don't want to come across like ingrateful because I had a ripped futon. But we all deserve what we really want. We all deserve to be in the frequency of like having things that feel good and doing things that feel good and just embodying the best version of ourselves. So it's just crazy. I listen to this Feng Shui podcast, and then I go and take massive action on it the next day, and everything in my life gets better. The laptop that was broken that I was so worried about before, because that's how I make all my money. That's how I do this podcast. That's how I do my art, my music, and all I wanted to do was make beats, and making beats is like my favorite hobby, and it also pays a lot of my bills. So like, easy for me to get really scared, fearful paradigm when my laptop goes out. But once I let go of that, and then as soon as I fix this door situation and clean up my house and, take action on what I can to make my life better, everything happens. Boom, the laptop magically fixes itself out of nowhere. I'm still mind blown about that. Boom, magically, I sell like 6 beats. Like, everyone wants to buy beats from me right now. Like, I got like 4 DMs yesterday of people like asking if different beats were available, and seems like everyone wants to pay me for shit, and like I'm back on this awesome frequency again. So I really wanted to share that with you guys, even though I've shared it before. I wanted to like maybe the 3rd or 4th time sharing it, it'll finally click and you like, all right, it's time for me to do what Burnell says and take action on this spring cleaning. Your next day off work, or maybe it's probably important that you take an entire day off work just to do this. It's an act of self-care, and it's also an act of service to all. And if you live with anyone, you have roommates or family or whatever, maybe show them this episode or show them some Feng Shui stuff and get them on board too, and maybe they'll be inspired to clean up their space and maybe they'll be in harmony with you. But regardless, do it yourself and do it for you, and they'll catch on and they'll feel good. And like, I can't tell you how many times back when I used to have roommates, I live by myself with just my daughter now, but back when I used to have roommates, like if I got inspired and start cleaning and reorganizing and stuff, like they would feel good and they'd start cleaning their room too and getting their shit together too, because it would just kind of like, all of a sudden their super messy room just stuck out like a sore thumb when I just cleaned the fuck out of the rest of the house. And they just saw how good it felt, and they saw how my frequency changed, and they wanted that for themselves too. So I'm a firm believer that when we do acts of self-care and we do good things for ourselves, it's actually an act of service to all, because we're all one, and it inspires them to take similar actions in their life. So get yourself a magic notebook, something that feels really good to write in. Clean your house, reorganize it, do some spring cleaning, donate what no longer serves you. Get rid of all the old files on your computer that you aren't using anymore, or organize them at least into subfolders and make it look nice. And like, if you're listening to this in springtime, it's like, you can do this whenever, it doesn't matter. But if you're listening to springtime, I feel like it's a powerful time, because you're like, I don't know, at least where I live, like the snow's melting, the sun's starting to come out, the flowers are going to start blooming soon, and we're going to start having barbecues, we're going to start swimming, we're going to start going hiking and camping and being outdoors more and soaking up the sun and getting more vitamin D. And I, for one, just want to jump into spring and summer on a super high frequency and be the best version of me. And this really helped me do that. And the crazy thing, on top of like the laptop working and a bunch of beats selling, is like I had extreme writer's block. The last like 4 or 5 times I tried to write music, nothing was coming. I was feeling absolutely uninspired and just nothing was coming. And then before I even was fully done cleaning, I was like 90% done cleaning and stuff, and like lyrics just started flooding to me out of nowhere. Like a song just like popped into my head from creative muses out in the universe somewhere, and I wrote like the best song I've ever written. And then I sat down to make a beat, and I made like the dopest beat I've made in a long time. And creative solutions for my business started hitting me, and like just new ways that I could show up in the world just became so clear to me. I just was struck with massive creativity, massive clarity, and massive prosperity. Don't underestimate the power of this stuff. Like, and everything is just a frequency. Your work is to get on the right vibe. When you're on the right vibe, you will be led and guided to take the right actions. But when we're on the right or on the wrong vibe, like all we can think about is what actions do we need to take and what do I need to do and blah, 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 and then we're all stressed and worried about shit. When you're on the right frequency, it's like the actions almost just take themselves. You just get guided to do things that are fun and exciting, and everything works out. And we all need these challenges and these hardships and these, rough times to provide that contrast that gives us clarity on what we do want. And sometimes we just need to get fed up with our own shit in order to make a change. I just remembered another thing in regards to like the scripting and the magic journal and the Zion National Park book. I found that book, and I knew that that was a sign that I would be going to Zion soon. So I have these different triggers throughout my life. Like anytime I see an airplane, I subconsciously tell myself, oh, I noticed that airplane because I'm on the frequency of travel and I will be on an airplane soon. And every time I start noticing a bunch of airplanes, sure enough, I book a trip. I have all these different triggers. Every time I see 2 birds, I think love and romance is coming in. Or if I see 3 birds, I think it's 3 little birds. Don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be all right. No reason to stress. Whatever I'm worried about, it just eases my mind. Anytime I see a globe, like or a map of the world that symbolizes world travel, and just, oh, sweet, I'm on the frequency of world travel. I feel good. I'm in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest. Nice. I'm doing the right thing right now, or else I wouldn't have noticed that. When I see the magic numbers, the angel numbers, the 111s, the 222s, the 333s, like these are all different signs. And it might seem like some hippie, woo-woo, weird spiritual stuff, but obviously you're kind of into that if you're listening to my podcast. But it's also just like subconscious programming. And there's a lot of science, and especially in quantum physics, that leads to like I always talk about the reticular activating system. I'm just programming my subconscious mind to scan the environment and look for confirmations that I'm on the right path. And I know when I'm following my bliss and following my joy, I see all these signs and everything just keeps happening. So I see this Zion book. I know, oh man, this must mean I'm actually going to go to Zion soon, because I just wrote it down in my journal. And then within a few days of writing it, I see this book on Zion. And then, out of nowhere, my homegirl Megan hits me up and she's like, hey, I've been really wanting to go to Angel's Landing. And I can't remember if she knew that Angel's Landing was in Zion or not. I feel like she didn't even know that Angel's Landing was in Zion National Park. She just really wanted to go to Angel's Landing for some reason. So we met up at Roots Cafe for brunch and decided let's meet up for brunch and talk about a potential trip down to Zion. Or down to Angel's Landing. And we're talking about how fun it will be and when we should go and when she can get work off and blah, blah, blah. So we kind of set the intention and make the plan and pick the date. And then last minute, I post on social media, like mobbing down to Zion tomorrow morning if anyone wants to come. And the homie Omid, who's like a spontaneous mobber who's just down to travel whenever. He's kind of that homie that's down to do things spontaneously, and he kind of has that freedom. He lives in a paradigm like me where he expects to have that freedom, and he expects to have that the ability to like set his own schedule and like do what he wants when he wants. And it's kind of just a choice. You can design your life that way. And, once you step out of the victim mentality of thinking, I have to work this job in order to get by, and I have to be at these places for these set hours in order to pay my bills, otherwise I can't live the life that I want. That's like a scarcity paradigm, and it's a super limiting belief that you don't have to have. It's just a choice you've made, and you can make a new choice at any time and design your life differently. So for me, like, I set my own schedule. I don't do anything that requires me to be on someone else's time necessarily. And there's always different, obligations, but it's like I choose to obligate myself. Like, if I choose to perform a show and accept a booking, like, yes, I had to be there on time for sound check, and yes, I have to be there on stage at the specific time. But it's not coming from a scarcity paradigm anymore of like, I have to do this because my boss set these hours and that's when I work and that's when I have to work and I can't get out of it, and if I take time off then I lose money or whatever, or I risk getting fired. No, I am showing up on time because I'm a man of my word, and I chose to be there for this show because it's in alignment with my desires and I want to. That's a way more abundant mindset than feeling like you have to do something. You know what I mean? I choose to do something. So the more you tell yourself that I choose this, I choose that, the less you live in a victim paradigm. And my whole life really massively changed when I stepped out of the victim mode and started taking full 100% responsibility for every aspect of my life. Every circumstance is a direct reflection of the frequency that I've been living on. And I've either created, allowed, or attracted every single circumstances of my life. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, period, end of story. So once I stepped out of that, I got on such a beautiful paradigm, but I'm kind of going on a side rant here. So Omid was just down to hop in the car last minute and come to Zion. When we went to go pick him up from his house, I had never been in his house before, I don't think, so I went and checked it out. And sure enough, there was a big picture of Zion National Park, a poster of Zion National Park on his bedroom wall that he's probably subconsciously been looking at every day. And I asked him, I was like, oh, this is a dope picture of Zion. Is this intentional? Did you know, were you thinking about this, or have you been to Zion before? And he's like, no, I just randomly got gifted that poster and thought it looked cool, and I've never been to Zion before. Always wanted to go. And I was like, holy shit, that's so dope. So the three of us had the same desires in our heart. We kind of went different ways of manifesting it. I think Megan mostly manifested just by she decided she wanted to do it. She has a car and she has the money and she has a job that allows her to take time off. So it was pretty simple for her to say, okay, I can do this, and I do it. I'm going to do it. Boom. All I got to do is pick a date, meet up with Burnell. In her mind, that's as easy as it was. I just need to meet up with Burnell, pick a date, then tell my work I'm taking those days off, and boom, we're going. Whereas me, I'm living in a paradigm where I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know how I'm going to get the money for it. I don't know, whatever. I don't think about that shit. I just think about what my heart wants. And then I connect with the emotions of being there already, and I visualize it. Omid, he was detached. He never thought about when, where, or how, or who he'll go to Zion with. He just had this poster and figured, hey, I'll go there someday, and that'll be dope. So we all three of us kind of use slightly different law of attraction or quantum physics techniques to manifest our heart's desires, but it powerfully aligned because we're all in harmony, I say that weird sometimes. We're all in harmony with each other, and we're all desiring the same thing, and it's so powerful. It's the powerful of the mastermind. Whenever there's multiple hearts that desire the same thing, you can manifest anything with lightning speed way, way, way faster than you could manifest it yourself. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important to hang out with people that desire similar things in their lives. Like, I really love hanging out with people who deeply value their health, because I'm going to get healthier by hanging out with them. I'm going to be introduced to new mindsets, new foods, new supplements, new restaurants, new ways of thinking, new activities. We're going to be spending more time moving our bodies, being in nature, versus people like my old homie group that all they did was drink booze, smoke cigarettes, and eat fast food. And those friends are great, amazing people. I still love a lot of them, but as I've shifted away from a lot of people that are living like that, and I still have some friends that are living like that are still amazing people, and I hang out with them less frequently, and I hang out with them for different reasons, because they maybe embody other areas of life that I admire or want to be like. But when I'm hanging out with people that like want similar things in life, it's like boom, everything just happens like crazy. Like, I got to go to Hawaii super easily. That was kind of like beyond what I would have been able to manifest by myself, because I'm friends with other people that also deeply desired in their hearts to be in Hawaii as well. And we aligned with each other, and it happened. So that's one of the reasons it's super important. But I just wanted to touch on that because, like, I wrote it down in the magic journal and kind of detached from it. And then I saw the book knowing, I'm on the right frequency. And then, boom, I'm randomly kind of get desired to hang out with Megan again. I hadn't really, up until this Zion trip, I hadn't really seen her in a long time. And I hadn't really hung out, like, even talked to her in a while. And both of us got intuitively called to, like, link up with each other. And, I didn't know at the time, my intuition is calling me to hang out with Megan because she also desires to go to Zion, and she'll help me manifest, and we'll be able to co-manifest this together and have an amazing trip. I didn't know that. I just followed my intuition because it felt right. Hey, you know what? I like Megan. She's an awesome person. I should hit her up, see how she's doing. And then, hey, yeah, let's meet up. It's been a while. Let's go to brunch soon. And then, start talking about Zion, and boom, we plan a trip and we do it. So I guess my main point with this entire episode is to just literally embody who you want to become as if it's already a done deal. Write about it as if it's a done deal. Dress as if it's a done deal. Eat like it's a done deal. Make your environment and your space reflect that it's a done deal. If you're trying to be a multi-millionaire and have tons of money in abundance and make a massive impact on other people and do all these extraordinary things and live in your greatness, but you're tolerating a broken front door or burnt out light bulbs or cobwebs and dead bugs in the corners and crevices of your house, then you're blocking the things that you want. We get whatever we tolerate. So when you stop tolerating those things, you clear space to invite in the creativity, to actually hear those intuitive nudges that will lead you to your heart's desires. So I hope you got a lot of value from this. I could obviously just ramble for hours and hours on all sorts of things, but I feel like I made my point. And I want to save. I had another thing that I was really excited to talk about, but I feel like it's going to be perfect for 15-minute Friday. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, because I'm dropping 2 episodes a week, every Tuesday and every Friday at 5:55 a.m. And these podcasts are just going to keep getting better as I find my voice, as I bring on more guests, as I have more experiences to share with you, as my vibration raises, and as our community and tribe continues to grow. So thank you for listening. We'll be back on Friday with another inspiring episode. If you haven't left a review, that would seriously mean the world to me. Like, I'm not just asking for reviews just because it helps grow, and that's what you're supposed to do to market a podcast. That's a big part of it, but like, for me, in my heart, if no other humans existed besides me and you, I would just genuinely like to know what you're getting out of this. I'd like to read your review and It doesn't have to be 5 stars, although 5 stars is appreciated, but I just like to hear your honest thoughts on, even if it's constructive criticism and you could slide it into my DM or something like, hey man, I really like your podcast. I think you could stop saying the word or like so much, or you could stop repeating yourself so much. Whatever like criticism or feedback you have, whether negative or positive, I appreciate that. I'm not going to take it personally, like in a negative way. I'm just going to use it to improve myself, because I really want to change people's lives with my words. I want to make people feel inspired, uplifted, step into the highest, best version of themselves. I want to empower and spread goodness in the world. And your feedback helps me do that, both positive and negative. And it's confirmation that I'm on the right path and that what I'm doing is actually helping some people. And every time, it doesn't even take much. It takes a couple people hitting me up saying that they're getting value from stuff that I do, and I just go twice as hard. I'm like, oh my God, people are loving my podcast. I'm on a winning streak. I'm killing it right now. And I just get it's kind of like a little kid and the positive psychology of rewarding them for their good behavior, and makes them want to do more of that goodness. So when people kind of acknowledge things that I'm doing that are helping them, it just makes me want to go that much harder. So I really appreciate you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely drop a comment and share this out. And just feel free to slide into my DM if there's anything that you need help with or anything that you'd like to hear me talk about on the podcast. If it's something that I feel like I have expertise in, then I will gladly share my perspective on it. If it's something I know nothing about, I'll just tell you, hey man, I don't know anything about that, or else I would. But either way, slide into my DM, shoot me a message, let me know that you're listening so I can connect with all my kindred spirits. And let's just keep the tribe growing, keep the good love flowing. Get out there, do some spring cleaning, go buy yourself a magic notebook, get yourself a nice pen, and declare, this is my magic wand. It's not just a pen, this is my magic wand. And anything I write in this notebook, anything I write with this magic wand is going to come true. It's going to come into real life. So I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I'm so grateful for you investing this time in yourself, because like I said earlier, the mindset is 80%. The mechanics is 20%. Especially I'll just give you a quick example. With recording a podcast, the 20% is how do you get it on Libsyn, and how do you get it on iTunes and Spotify, and what kind of mic should you have, and what kind of recording software do I need, and blah, blah, blah. That's the 20%. That's the easy shit to figure out. 80% is the mindset of I have real value to provide. I'm not shy with my voice and sharing my wisdom. People care about what I say. I can actually uplift and inspire and empower people with my words, and I can grow this thing, and I can be successful, and I can get sponsors, and I can make a difference in people's lives. And those are some of the mindset things, and that's 80% of it. So I respect you and appreciate you for investing this time in your mindset to just listen to this. And if you were working out and moving your body, or on a hike and eating healthy and doing the things while you're listening to it, then hey, you're on a high level, knocking out the mindset and the mechanics at the same time. So that's the beauty of listening to audio. That's why I love listening to podcasts so much. I keep learning and improving my life through the podcast and the YouTube channels that I consume. So I hope that by watching my YouTube channel, by listening to my podcast, or by following me on Instagram, that you're getting even a fraction of the value that I'm getting from some of the people I follow. And if you are, it just means the world to me if you would let me know, so I can use that social proof to keep spreading the message and keep empowering more people. I love y'all. Have a super blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.